Okay, again, a very good afternoon for the new participants. And I'm Nelson Tavares da Silva, business developer within QBS. And today I will be hosting this webinar around the direct model is like an iceberg. And before I start, I would like to welcome Amit Wason, who will be also helping us and giving us some feedback around his experience around CSP. So Amit, very welcome, and we will have some questions later on. And again, for the partners, it is also an opportunity for you guys to ask Amit what his journey was, and if you have any specific questions, I will be answering them, or Amit in this case. But the session is mainly meant to give you some more insights from a partner view. But before we start with the partner view, I just want to get you some information around the cloud solution providers. I assume everybody is aware of the cloud solution provider program of Microsoft, but just always good to repeat that. So the Microsoft CSP, it is a licensing model and program where you can find today the Office 365 licensing, the Azure licensing, the Microsoft CRM licensing, and the operations. As we all know, soon to become also Tenerife, and I think that's probably the most important call to action. We're coming later back to that one. It's all based on annuity, although you have the ability in the CSP to also transact on-prem licensing, but it is all based on annuity moving forward. So also an impact for yourselves as a company. So please be aware of that. And of course, it will give you the opportunity to manage your end customers from an end-to-end perspective, meaning also your solutions, also your abilities, your services, and the licensing all in one program. If you have questions, then please just put them on the chat. I have two lovely ladies sitting in front of me checking those questions, and I can then come back to you. Tenerife, as said, April will be the release date. I just took this slide from last year where we were in directions. As you can see, not all countries will have this ability. For Europe, we have Italy, we have France, we have the UK, we have Denmark, we have Austria, Switzerland, Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, Sweden, Finland, and Spain. If your country is not on that list, it means you need to be using the 2018 second release until you get a localized version in the Tenerife. So for those countries, it's super important that you start understanding the CSP model, and I would urge each of you who are present in one of those countries which I just mentioned, that you now get the CSP ability into your company, because it will be very important moving forward with the Tenerife, because as far as we understand today, Tenerife will only be available via the CSP. So transactionally, you can only use CSP to get the licensing for Dynamics 365 Tenerife. So from a Microsoft perspective, there are two routes to go with CSP. You have a direct model and you have an indirect model. Now, the rumors are that in end of this month, beginning of March, Microsoft will be adding more thresholds into the CSP direct level. It means that Microsoft is trying to shift most of the direct CSP transacting partners into an indirect model, and an indirect model means working with the likes of QBS. The reason for that, and that's not officially, but it has more to do with the amount of partners in direct and the fact that Microsoft cannot cope with all those questions and all those partners in the program. So what Microsoft is trying now is to put more thresholds into the direct CSP tier model meaning that most of the partners will need to move into an indirect. I think there's a couple of benefits if you move into an indirect motion, because your costs, for example, one of the things which they're mentioning, you need to have an advanced support contract. They also, we just renewed the one for QBS, and of course it's already raised. I think it's now around $14,000, but that's something you will need to have in a direct CSP motion. But I think the other advantage is also that you can start very quickly, you can expand your portfolio on your own pace. You don't need to be carrying around systems and also infrastructure to get the CSP Direct model working. And Amit will be probably highlighting much more around that and his experiences. But the indirect motion is where we feel that you can start in an easy way. And there's, of course, always a route to go from indirect into direct. So it's not if you make one choice now today that you are there for the rest of your partnership or lifetime. So there's always ability to move or change within the two models from CSP Direct or Indirect. And even in the two models, you are able to have different go-to-markets. So you can make it as complex as you want. But today, you can do it with QBS, and we're happy to partner and help you in the CSP motion moving forward. No questions? No? Okay. This is about the partnership, as I said. QBS is all about partners and working with you guys to be helping you grow the revenue and lower your costs. And that's what we're trying also to do with the services. Today, you hopefully know the services which we have and are able and ready for you to be using them. And the thing which we will be highlighting today, of course, is everything around the CSP. Now, the things which we are trying to build and help our partners are based on these 9 quadrants. And of course, there are much more. But at least what I want to highlight is that if you want to do a direct motion CSP, be aware that Microsoft will be adding threshold, and be aware of these 9 quadrants, because these are the 9 quadrants which you need to have in-house to go into a direct model. Of course, from QBS perspective, we will be owning these 9 quadrants. We will be investing those quadrants with the systems which we have, and we will try to improve them on a monthly, quarterly, and yearly base to get things up to speed, and also up to speed with Microsoft, because Microsoft, as you can understand, is investing a lot in the CSP program, because at the end, their only goal is to have all licensing transacted via CSP. So the things which you as a partner you need to be aware of is your knowledge. Again, CSP is expanding very rapidly. Today only 450 SKUs, and that's only for one market. If you want to add, for example, the education or government, then very soon you will have more than 1,000 SKUs to be looking at and also owning and understanding them. How to integrate systems and your web shop, that's another thing which we can help. We have the mechanics ready. So if you want to go to market with a web shop, with your services, with your IP, then definitely something which we can discuss and also help you and also go to market from a marketing perspective, help you around that to be successful. The whole integration with Partner Center. Partner Center is the layer which Microsoft uses for the direct partners, and where you can find all the SKUs and all the information. That is something which we own, so you won't get into that Partner Center, but the systems which we have will give you the ability, and of course we will be tracking and tracing everything what's happening at the Microsoft side, and via our Gemma communities we're trying to update you with the most relevant information and not give you all the information. The single point of contact, which of course we have the people in the service desk, they will be helping you for any questions. The support related to that, service bundling, and that's I think a very important when Tenerife comes, is that you can then have a licensing and, for example, an implementation, your add-on or your IP, and we can bundle that within one price. You can make your own bundles, you can create your own go-to-markets, and we have the systems to help you there in go-to-market and go into the field and trying to sell as much as possible. The ownership, that's what we will be doing. On the other hand, the ownership is about you and the customer. That is what you own. QBS will never go direct, as far as I know, and at least because we have a very clear indirect model, and the whole CSP is actually based on that indirect model. So you as partner will be invoicing, you will be the interface, but we as QBS, we will be helping you to drive your end customer excellence. IP to app, I already said. The other thing which we now have with the one-click factory ability and the cooperation which we have with OneClick, we have now more technical interfacing capability to be helping you to drive your IP to app. As you all know, Tenerife will be based on extensions, and together with OneClick, we will be able to programmatically get you from IP to app. And last but not least, of course, is the focus, because focus is everything you need to be successful in the market. And again, Microsoft is, of course, a very complex environment, from a personal one, but also from organizational changes, the licensing changes, the product changes, and that is what you need to focus on, how you can offer the best thing to your end customer. And from the systems and licensing and back office, we will be able to be helping you driving this forward. Now, the other thing which I also want to highlight is the fact that we have special conditions with CSP for our QBS partners. And what I mean with that is that, as you all know, if you are transacting normal licensing with EOC today via QBS, that you will be measured twice a year on your discounts. Now, what we thought, because we know that, of course, with the Tenerife launch, everything needs to be transacted via CSP, we're trying to help to protect your cash flow impact by the fact that if you go into a CSP motion, that your discount will become less moving forward. So what QBS is offering, and we're the only one in the world to be doing that, is that we can combine the CSP revenue together with your normal NAV licensing in order for you to keep your discount level at a certain percentages. And a very simple example which I have here today, if your margin is around 40%, you need to have at least 70,000, and now 75,000 today, in your threshold calculation. Due to the fact that you are starting to transact via CSP, that could go back to 20%. So what QBS is doing is to also add the CSP monthly revenue over the last 6 months, and we will be adding that on top of your normal NAV licensing. So we're trying to compensate is actually the cash impact for you as a partner moving forward. And I think with this very, very special offer, we have a really good offering for you as a partner when you move into a more recurring motion with the CSP and the Tenerife, which is coming. So small example, again, so your yearly revenue is now 70K. In that case, you would be, from a new threshold calculations, your margin would go back to 20%, which is only 14K. So if you do the difference, which is the 5,000K on CSP, you will go back to 40% and see the big difference there. That's another 14K, which you could be adding to the licensing transaction on your on-premise business. So if you have customers coming towards additional users, or they want to add a module, that of course will have an impact if you're only on 20%. And we think with this offer that we can help sustain your cash flow position moving forward. Yeah, maybe this is another thing on the CSP, and that's very important because I know some of the parts have still not activated their incentive program, and that is something you need to do yourself. So with your MPN ID, and that's something you need to have anyway, and you don't need to be certified, you just need to have an MPN ID, which you can easily go to the website and ask for one. With the MPN ID, you can go into the aka.com, www.aka.microsoft.com. I need to double check the website link, but you need to go there with your MPN ID, and then you need to ask for the incentives and also have your certifications ready, because then the MPN ID will relate into the CSP environment, and with those certifications you will get additional incentives, and that is quite different. That can have an impact on Azure, that will have an impact on Tenerife. Each of the different licensing models, they will have additional incentives, but they can grow quite heavily. So it would be a shame if you have certified people, you don't have activated this certification on the CSP side. So please be aware of that, and if you have questions, and just relay that to the service people, and they're happy to help you or refer to the link where you can do it. It's not an easy process, but it's money, and it will be a shame if you leave that money on the table. Now, hopefully you all seen this blog from Amit Wason, and he's from Creative Business Systems, and I also prepared some questions to ask him, and here are the questions. But before we go to the question, Amit, maybe you can give a short introduction from yourself and what your company is doing.
Yeah, hi, we're Creative Business Systems.
Amit, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you, Amit. I can hear you right.
Okay, you can. Nelson?
Yes?
Okay, great.
Oh, this shit.
Yeah, so we're Creative Business Systems, Amit Wason, and we've been a NAV partner since '95, and I think until recently we've been doing just Dynamics NAV only. So yes, we sell it mainly on premise, but recently we're selling more on the cloud-based model, either by hosting the server or actually having some subscription-based customers as well. So we've got a good blend of different customers now. And probably the more recent deals have always asked about per user pricing or subscription pricing, and we've sort of offered them that option for a number of years. But recently, more and more adopting and buying NAV on the cloud, from what we see. Is that enough of an introduction?
I think it is.
That was fine. Thanks very much. So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't need to ask the question, so please go ahead. And
I'll go ahead. Yeah.
Just and hopefully some of the partners will also have some questions for you to move forward.
Yeah, sure. So, how did what do we transact with CSP? I mean, predominantly NAV is our main CSP, but we also do some Office customers as well, 365, and but we know we can grow into more CRM and Power BI and all the other offerings that NAV has. So, in a sense, we've done it purely as a NAV offering, but we're growing that now into more other parts of NAV, Microsoft software. For us, the CSP journey, we started really quite a few years ago trying to create our own ISP almost, and hosting company, where we wanted to offer different software we can provision and set up users very easily with NAV, Office, and all these things. We actually tried to do what QBS have done here. So we know exactly how much work and effort has gone into creating something you can just click a few buttons and provision an Office user, a NAV user, a CRM user, and have them all kind of work off the same password and login details. So we started from that a few years ago, and it was a lot of pain and a lot of money going in there. So at that time, we started hearing about Azure were becoming more prevalent in the cloud offering, and we started slowing down a little bit on what our ambitions were. And around that time, QBS were creating this OneBiz platform, and then started doing the CSP model. So we joined with them on the CSP model and found it much, much easier to deal with them as one company who's done all the hard work and heavy lifting of creating basically a platform where you can just type in the user's email address and what software they want to use, and have all that available to them within, a few minutes, if not hours. So it is very easy to use, and it took away all the maintenance headache we had looking after our own trying internet offering and cloud offering for people. So for us, it was just a no-brainer because we've seen the pain that goes into trying to do it yourself. So, we went through a few different journeys trying to get into sort of cloud offering, and even looked at doing the indirect route for CSP. But in the end, we took looked at the direct route for CSP, but the indirect one just made so much sense for us, just knowing the pain that it goes into doing this. I mean, in terms of how many people we have using CSP at the moment, we have about 126 users at the moment using, let's say CSP, but using the cloud offering with QBS, and 44 full users and 82 limited users, over 8 different customers that are on there. So pricing-wise, I think one thing we haven't done and think we need to do is improve how we report on the profitability with our customers in the cloud offering. But if you sort of average an end of 25%, maybe 10% to 25% on top of the costs, depending on what you're offering with the product, then you can start making some sort of calculation on revenue. I think we make about 7K at the moment only on revenue for those. So it's not a huge revenue stream for us at the moment, but I think cloud itself is much more volume based than it is about a few big deals a year that you can have on there. On the whole, the journey was, in a way, we just started the journey on there. I think with the 2 models available to you, we went down the indirect route. I think it just is a very easy way to get into selling on the cloud. There's no maintenance, no upfront costs, no investment needed to get people developing provisioning systems, billing, monitoring, and all these sort of things there, because it's very hard to monitor what's going on, because people can add users, they can take users away mid-month, part month, and you've got to keep on top of all that, and you've got to write software for it. You can probably buy software in now to do some of it for you, I reckon. But it's maintaining it. It's every time Microsoft create a new product, you've got to add that into your portal. To me, just doing it as a company just keeps us easy to do cloud business. When anything new comes out, it's available straight away for us, because QBS are doing it for a lot of people. So it's one invoice, one person to deal with, one company to deal with for NAV, for subscription, for any problems we have. It just makes it very easy. And maybe if you've not tried it yourself, you won't appreciate how much hassle that saves. But having tried it, it is definitely the easy route to getting into the cloud. But CSP is not high margin, and you don't make much margin going indirect with this route. But in a way, it's like not death by 1,000 cuts, but a profit by 1,000 users. It's a very small, but it grows, and it's always there. And I think that's the biggest advantage for us. With Tenerife only coming in CSP, I mean, you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to get into CSP and offer NAV on that in that way. And you can only go direct or indirect. And Microsoft themselves are saying direct is for people that want to do the whole shebang, offer everything to the customer, deal with Microsoft, create their own provisioning portals, and spend a lot of investment, and you've got to have a lot of volume to really recoup that investment at the beginning, and have people available to support these platforms and portals, because the turnaround time is so fast to fix things. You kind of things going out, not working for a day or anything like that. You've got to fix things in hours, you know. So that puts a lot of tension on the support desk. If you're used to nav level support, this is a whole other level of commitment you've got to give people, and it's got to be 24/7 pretty much, you know. So people want to set things up on their own, and I think eventually, with the portal here, you can start setting things up by the customer doing it, not just yourself. So I think for me, the ability to sell Office 365, Power BI, probably Powerflow, CRM, all from one portal without having to do anything. You know, you can just give people software with a few clicks of a button, and that makes it so easy to do. Yeah, I mean, that's, I think, my view on the questions there.
Okay, thanks, Amit. We have some difficulties, so I need to put you on mute on my PC, but you can hear me at least.
Yeah.
So thanks for the explanation, and hopefully it gives also some guidance to the partners. I think again, I would like to ask each of the partners to at least read the blog from Amit, because I think it has a great storyline in there. Although I think most of the things he already mentioned during the questions and the answers. But I would definitely go into the website of QBS and find this blog and have a read at it. If you don't have any CSP background yet, you need to make that decision. Then I would definitely say have a read on it, and it will help you hopefully in making the right choice. For me, I don't have much more to be highlighting around the CSP. There's much more information on the QBS website. I would urge each of you also to go to our Jammer community. We have a partner Jammer community, but we also have a CSP community that's actually only available for our CSP partners. But as a QBS partner, I'm happy to also accommodate that one. We're not jammering on an hourly base. What we're trying to do is to keep a pace on the different Jammer groups from Microsoft, and there are around 6 which I'm following today, and also only then referring the most interesting or important information and give that back to you. So at least you don't need to keep all those Jammer groups and also reading all the information, which is quite a heavy one. Are there any questions for Amit or anything which you would like to know or to explain? Then I'm happy to accommodate. I think we have 30 minutes. I'm always trying to do it in 40 minutes, so we still have 10 minutes left. So is there any question on any particular, which one of you would like to ask, either myself or Amit?
A few questions being typed in. The blog address.
Sorry for that. We will definitely, when we send out the recording, to add those 2 links for each of you, so you can go into the blog and also to the website and the information. Yeah, no problem.
There's also a question from Stafford. Stafford, if you come to me after this call, we'll arrange for that. You just don't go and register. You need to basically sign an addendum to your current QBS contract. Of course, there is no additional cost if you're already a QBS partner. It's just a matter of signing up the right documentation, and then you get the ramp-up session with our CSP team that will walk you through the Odin interface, so you know where you are and how it works, how you go about deploying, how you go about billing, and all the options in there. All right. So come to me after this, okay?
Thanks, Andy.
No problem.
Okay, I'm just reading. Already uses 2 years to see what if we want to connect it to our internal NAV environment in combination with a web shop for the end customer. Just need to see if I understand that completely. So you want to have your NAV ERP system combined with a web shop and with CSP then. So does it mean you want to have that on the direct or in an indirect? Are you asking QBS or is it a general question, Sander?
I wouldn't have thought the CSP model would affect the way you can connect to NAV environment. It's purely licensing. From what I know, I think generally we've got people on NAV on subscription that have actually got web shop integration to things like Spotify. So that hasn't hindered that from happening anyway. If that was your question, Sander, sorry.
Oh, I see what Sander means here, guys. He wants to basically give like a self-service to the customers. Yeah, so they can go and have like, yes, that is possible, Sander. There is an actual option to create an external customers, let's call it, web shop that is attached to your CSP. So a customer can add a user or remove a user directly from doing that. You're not obliged to having to give that out, but it's an option that is there, and that, of course, I mean, it's only good if your customers pay. If your customers are not pay, then they've got an open door to order stuff and not pay for it, right?
And also, I think that's an important point with the billing side of things. You've got to be on top of that every month to see who's added and removed users in a month or over a month and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Invoice it properly.
Yeah.
I just want to add, because I understand Sander is already 2 years direct. So if you want to do that, then Sander, you need to be building your own API and your own integration. What Andy and Amit were just referring, that from QBS perspective, our system has a partner interface and we have a customer interface. So if you do CSP via QBS, we can give you a end customer portal capability where then the customer actually can then order themselves up and down however they want, and it's automatically built from our system. It's not integrated in NAV because you will then get an XML file from us, but that of course is then something which you can read into your NAV system and then do the billing automatically. That's the thing which we have as a setup standard today. We don't have a fully integration from our system into your NAV. Okay, so if there are no questions, then I would like to thank everyone on the call. Hopefully it will give you some guidance. And Amit, I want also to thank you for your participation and to share the secrets of creative business around this whole CSP. And
Pleasure.
if there are questions, then you can email, of course, us or seek contact with your partner account manager, and they can have the discussion with you on next steps or have the debate. And in any case, I'm always happy to jump on a call and to go into more details for each of you. So for now, thank you, and hopefully we will see you soon at QBS with CSP, and all the best for the countries to launch Tenerife very soon. Goodbye.